Hello, I'm Dr. Bernard K. Means of the Virtual Curation Laboratory at Virginia Commonwealth University, and I'm here to talk a little about a specific artifact for Pennsylvania Archaeology Month. And the artifact I'm going to talk about is a mastodon tooth. And so this is a mastodon tooth. And if you don't know what a mastodon is an extinct relative of an elephant. So it looks very much like an elephant. It died about 10,000 years ago, right? And based on recent archaeological evidence, we know that humans and mastodons probably overlapped for about 10,000 years in North America. And so you might be asking yourself, if you know a little bit about archaeology and paleontology, um, wouldn't a mastodon tooth be something that's related to paleontology? And it is. So the mastodon tooth is, in fact, paleontological. What makes it archaeological? Why is this particular mastodon tooth archaeological? And this particular mastodon tooth is archaeological because of where it was found. This mastodon tooth was found in Philadelphia in the 1950s while excavating in property that belonged to Benjamin Franklin. So this mastodon is paleontological. The mastodon fossil is paleontological because it is in fact a fossil, but it's also archaeological because of where it was found. It was found through excavations, and that's not uncommon for us to find fossils on archaeological sites, even sites thousands of years old. This particular archaeological fossil is also historical because it's associated with Benjamin Franklin. And you might ask yourself, why would Benjamin Franklin care about mastodons? Why would he have a mastodon tooth? He, in fact, was not actually alone in having mastodon fossils. All of the founding fathers had fossils of mastodons and other animals as well. The most famous people that had these fossils were Thomas Jefferson, who had a collection that he actually displayed not only in his home in Monticello, but also displayed in the White House. In fact, after the Lewis and Clark expedition was over, he sent William Clark to Kentucky to get him more mastodon bones, which he displayed in the White House. George Washington had mastodon fossils, which unfortunately have not survived to this day. But we know that during the Revolutionary War, George Washington actually paused between battles to visit a farmer because he had heard that that farmer had mastodon fossils. And after the war had ended, but before peace had been signed, he actually loaned troops to an enemy German physician to allow him to excavate mastodon bones on that same property. So we have founding fathers are really concerned with mastodon bones. And the reason they're really concerned with mastodon bones is because of a French natural historian, sort of like what we today would call sort of a natural history scientist, who had a theory that he put out in the mid 1700s called the theory of American degeneracy. And in the theory of American degeneracy, he argues that the Americas physically, like North America, South America, Central America, could not support anything large, and that if anybody or anything was brought to the Americas, they themselves would become small. And so this is a great concern to the founding fathers. They wrote letters to each other. They had people searching for fossils. They were looking for something really big that they could use to disprove the Comte de Buffon, this French scientist. And so they were sending mastodon bones back and forth to each other, and those also of giant ground sloths. And those mastodon fossils were even mailed to Benjamin Franklin when he was in London, representing the American colonies. Now, the fossil that's found in Philadelphia is not one of those London fossils. We don't actually know specifically where the tooth itself came from. There are a couple of likely locations. One of them is the Orange County area in New York State, where a number of the mastodon fossils were being found by people during the 17 and 1800s. And the other place is in Kentucky. There's a site called Big Bone Lick, and that's where a lot of Jefferson's fossils came from. Now, if you want to learn more about these fossils and their fascination, and always sort of think back to the tie to archaeology and Pennsylvania. We do have a comic book that I did with a student called Founding Monsters, which you can actually download for free. So I'm going to try to hold up the QR code. Hold it up for a minute. So if you want to, you can click on this QR code. And if you're in Philadelphia, you can see the archaeologically recovered Benjamin Franklin mastodon tooth, mastodon molar, in Franklin Court in the museum that's there. So this is part of the exhibit, and so this is actually a 3D print made from a 3D scan that I did back in 2016 of that very same tooth. Thank you all very much, and happy Pennsylvania Archaeology Month.